What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Trades and Gains. It was another, quote unquote, chill Monday on Wall Street. Iran fired missiles, oil collapsed, Tesla soared 8%, and Jerome Powell might just become everyone's favorite sugar daddy with a rate cut. Oh, and somewhere we all agreed World War III just wasn't happening. It didn't occur yet. Markets were basically meh throughout the day. And welcome to another episode of Trades and Gains, where we make money moves through missile strikes, meme stocks, and Fed flip-flops. Smash that like button, or I'll buy puts on your portfolio. So let's go. Let's go ahead and dive straight into this. So let's set the stage. Over the weekend, Iran lobbed some missiles at the U.S. airbase in Qatar. No casualties, no damage, just a loud, hey, we're here, pay attention. Then they basically said, yeah, we're all good here. And Wall Street said, all right, let's do what we do best and rally. And what happened? Well, the Dow ripped 0.9%, snapping its losing streak like a glow stick at Coachella or the forest this weekend if you're in Michigan. The NASDAQ climbed 1%, and tech had a moment. Shout out to Elon Musk for that. And oil, it's down 7%. Why? Because apparently we price peace in milliseconds now. Oh, also the S&P 500 was back up 1%. It's in the green and bulls are able to breathe again. Now imagine being oil. You were the main character for about 2 hours and then boom. Your dad went to go get milk and you haven't seen him since. Now, anyways, let's talk about Tesla. Tesla ran 8% after someone in Austin confirmed, yo, there are driverless Teslas roaming the streets like a GTA 6 beta. Robotaxi is live. A $4.20 fare. Well, because, of course, would we really expect anything less? It's Elon. And he flexed that, and the market drooled like people looking at free OnlyFans pages. Now, InvestorCentralClub showed some heavy call volume into Tesla. The top contract were the 380 calls for August, and we had block trades in the dark pool, 107.9 million at the $343 spot. When someone drops 100 million on a single block, you listen. That ain't retail, folks. That's institutions prepping for the robo future. Or they just really like weed jokes. Who knows? Now, speaking of weed jokes and options flow, let's go ahead and head over to InvestorCentralClub to talk about some of our biggest orders from today. Because, boy, oh boy, there wasn't a lot of unusual activity, so just a little peek into how the sausage is made. I look for patterns and for consistent orders. I don't just call out everything and anything I see because a lot of these could be liquidity issues where, you're going to get liquidized. Anyways, we had, for our premiums, Tesla coming in strong, 9.55 million on those 340 calls. Due for this week, $19 average. So clearly someone had some strong conviction. Those came in at 10:48 a.m. 5,000 volume against 16,000 open interest. So clearly there's some demand for those contracts. We had ARM come in with some 6/17/2027 long dated 145 calls, 9.5 million dropped, $5,200 average. You don't drop this kind of size unless you have some conviction here. We also had Tesla again appear back here with another $7 million block for the 340-250 calls due for 6/27/2025. Most likely these are related just because we're seeing around a $5 strike difference and similar size hitting for a similar strike as well. So this is definitely institutions expecting a move on Tesla here. Again, you got to keep those eyes peeled. And these were deep in the money, by the way. Both of these Tesla calls were. So clearly someone is expecting Tesla to not break 340, and then they decided it's not going to break 342. So those are some things to, keep in mind here. IBIT, biggest put order of the day, 5.5 million on institutions. This is, again, a Bitcoin proxy because it looks like we have some risk on now, or risk off in this case. Stocks are hot. Bitcoin, commodities, and safe havens could take a hit here, really. Amazon, another interesting one. Despite the run, despite the gains that we saw through Amazon today, we're seeing some long-dated puts at 210. 5.34 million dropped there. Now let's go ahead and take a peek at our unusual space as well. So with unusual, we're seeing Circle. Crazy company. $81 a share, I want to say about 15 trading days, 30 trading days ago. And now we're looking at a 258 spot. So Circle's definitely running. Seeing someone drop 1.94 million on some puts due for August 15th of 2025 shows some long-dated conviction that the party may stop here soon. Now, however, with the 220 spot, this could mean that institutions don't expect Circle to drop past 220 before they start to collect those premiums. We also saw Dow, $30 strike for the January 16th, 2026 expiration. Again, 950K dropped on this with $1.83 average. This is some long-dated conviction. $26.67 spot. So I don't think these people are interested in losing 915K. So this is something we would want to keep an eye on for with what the open interest looks like. And then we saw Circle with a $900,000 drop on some short-dated calls here. We're looking at the July 18th, 2025, 350 calls with a $3,000 average. The spot this was bought at was 272.81. Now, again, these came in a little later after that big put buy, but it's that long-dated conviction that we're looking for. Now, if we're looking at our overall flow, we're seeing Tesla with about 68.09 million overall, with calls just dominating the party, 51 million to 18 million in puts. SPY, we saw 37.6 million with 11 million coming into calls with 26 million in puts. Does this mean that the institutions might not be sold on this rally? Who knows? But NVIDIA had 18 million as well in total flow, 6 million in puts against, or 6 million in calls against 12 million in puts. So some very bearish activity. We highlighted a big put wall on NVIDIA today as well. QQQ, we saw 17.8 million, mostly in massive puts as well. Now QQQ had a whopping, let's see here, 11.6 million in put volume, bearish or insurance in this case. One block trade, we saw QQQ September 20th, 450 puts with 2.34 million in flow. A hedge that's someone calling their shot like Babe Ruth at the ballpark. Now let's go ahead and go creep around where the creepers creep. Our dark pool data. Ooh. Now I love dark pool because it really shows us what's going on. We can see here VU coming in as usual, 495.7 million in dark pool institutions. Again, these are runs to safe havens when we see VU. And we see it again here with 264 million, about a billy thrown on VU so far. With SPY, we saw multiple blocks come in at the 598.07 level, giving it almost a half a billy. Someone definitely has some long-dated conviction because they also bought this at the 598 spot. Now, these aren't trades. These are suggestions from people with yachts and that, well, will squeeze you out of a options position. Someone bought SPY for almost a half a billy. They're either bullish as fuck or they're hedging a very, very expensive divorce and don't want their wife to get anything. Now, let's go ahead and head our way back over and talk about the Fed. Because what's more fun than economic data? Now, our favorite bipolar boyfriend, Michelle Bauman, teased a July rate cut because inflation's cooling and Powell, well, he likes attention because he's old and wants to feel relevant. This week, tomorrow, we have Powell testifying to Congress. Expect a cryptic haiku. He's not going to say anything direct. But on Friday, we have PCE inflation, and it's the Fed's favorite stat. The markets are pricing in 2 cuts this year so far. Retail is weak, jobs are soft, and war panic has faded. So basically, if Powell sneezes dovishly on Tuesday, we're cutting here. Now, let's close it with a watch list your barber would even trade. Tesla, the 380 calls are definitely of interest. Meta had some December $600 calls, multiple blocks hitting that. NVIDIA, we also had some puts. We're seeing some puts. In SPY, we're seeing some puts as well. Meta's flow is quietly massive. Those calls for December, that's not just a bullish bet. That's Zuckerberg manifesting metaverse revenue from thin air. So, to recap, missiles flew, nobody died, oil tanked, tech ripped, Tesla memed, Fed pivoted, and your portfolio might have gone from panic to pump in less than 24 hours. Drop your trade this week in the comments. Poll in the community tab. Is this rally for real or just the calm before the geopolitical storm? This has been the Bull with Trades and Gains, or Max Pitts, depending where you know me from. Smash that like button, hit subscribe, and remember, if the missiles miss, we buy the dip. I'll see you guys in the next one. And we'll be streaming all day tomorrow from market open to market close, pulling live flow for all you lovely people. Have a great night.